Hi guys, welcome to OneUX1. Today we're talking about UX design, resumes, CVs. How can you create a good CV resume that's going to work for you? The first thing I want you to do is think about your UX design resume as not just about your UX design experience, because you may be new to UX design, thinking, well, I have no experience. Well, there's a lot of transferable skill sets that you can use in your resume to really highlight and shine with all of your other experiences. For example, one of the key areas of UX design and UX research jobs is the fact that you need to be a people's person, have soft skills, people skills, and that's so important. You can be the best UX designer in the world. If you can't work with teams, can't work with developers, you can't work with stakeholders, nobody's going to want to hire you. So don't undervalue your skill set of having worked in teams and worked with other people. So that's one thing. The next thing that's really key here is anything that you've learned that's in terms of technology use, so Slack, Teams, collaboration tools, really highlight those, because again, that's a key skill. This is a part of the life of a UX designer and a UX researcher. You must know how to collaborate online, especially nowadays. So if you've got that, highlight that in your resume. The third thing is get a content writer, content designer, a CV expert to have a second look at your resume, your CV. If you don't do that, you're going to miss out on golden opportunity to have someone who's got the experience to see how well it's written, how well it's designed. And just like UX design, what's the information architecture of your resume, of your CV? Is it laid out well? A lot of resumes I see, people start with their qualifications. Never start your CV resume with your qualifications. Nobody's really interested in that. Experience comes first. So have your name, maybe your address, a bit of your contact details, and then go on to a couple of lines about a bit about your profile. Who are you? And then start with your experience first. People want experience. It's more valuable than even your degree from university or college, or even if you've done a UX design boot camp or a course. That can go at the bottom. What they really want to know is, can you deliver? Can you do the job? That's what's really key to employers. So start with your experiences. Now, what if you don't have much UX design experience? You need to then use whatever you did for your UX design portfolio, use that as a section in your, not employment, but in experience. So if it took you 3 months or 6 months or 9 months to create your UX design portfolio, that is experience. So put it in the experience section. So yeah, it's not employment, but you did some work. You did a lot of work. That work is very valuable to an employer, especially if you're going for a junior role. So don't undersell yourself and don't undervalue your experience. So, because creating a portfolio is not easy. And when you're doing that, you're actually doing UX design work. So put that in the section if you've never worked anywhere in UX design. If you have, and obviously include that in your experience and employment section at the top. If you don't have employment history, you can write experience and employment. So you write all the experiences of UX design and then include any employment that you've done in the past. And then you can move on to the next section, which would be about your education. Now, even in your education, if you've done a degree in a completely different subject, let's say you have a degree or a diploma in psychology, mention the aspects of psychology that relate to UX design. For example, you may have studied the psychology of colors, which is very relevant to UX and UI and UX research. So mention that module, that aspect of the work that's going to add value to your new CV and resume. So anything you've done in education, anything you've done in training, any training you've done in a job, all of that can be included into your resume. Now, another thing, even if you don't have that level of experience, you may have done some voluntary work, community work. You might work with the Scouts or a homeless soup kitchen, or anything that you've done that you think is valuable, add it in there. Because again, if you have empathy with the homeless, you're going to have empathy with users. And so don't think that just because it's not directly UX design related, it's not going to hold any importance or value. Anything that you've done is a transferable skill set. Employers are looking for to see the whole picture. Does this person fit with our organization? Would this person be able to work with people and understand and listen? Because a key skill of UX designers and researchers is that they listen well. If you can't listen, you can't understand the developer, you can't understand the design needs or the scope of the project. If your product manager, product owner is explaining something and you can't listen, you're not a good listener, you're of no use to the organization. So anything where you've done work with a team that's you can prove that you're a good listener, you're good at, say, also other skills related to listening and taking in information and analyzing that, such as report writing. If you've ever written a report, include that in your resume. So you say that I delivered on a report and these were the findings. These are the kind of things that you don't have to have direct UX design experience, but it's really, really important to an employer, because employers, they really want to see that this person has the ability to adapt, what we call nowadays agile. So if you're agile and you can adapt to the workplace and the needs of the project or the sprint, what we call a sprint, i.e. a 1 or 2 week sprint in which we're delivering on epics and stories. So epics are the bigger picture. For example, let's say we're changing a part of the home page, that would be an epic, and a story would be inside there, sort of sub stories or sub epics. So the parts where you're improving, let's say, the call to action button, or you're changing the navigation bar, all of those things would be stories inside an epic, and the whole thing is called a sprint. So if you're working in a sprint, or you've worked in a sprint elsewhere, you can mention that. Or if you worked on a project roadmap, so you had, let's say, a 3-month roadmap, mention that roadmap. All these keywords are going to help improve your resume and CV to get your first job in UX design. But don't forget, I have created a free UX design and UX research guide, which you can download below. And enjoy that, and I'll see you on the next one. This is 1UX1. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share and follow. Thank you, guys.